Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom. I'm a full-time eBay reseller and stay-at-home dad for my 6 kids. And if you're new to the channel in the last, say, 6 weeks, this is not normal. I was uploading every day for a year, and then it's just really fallen off for me recently. Just a lot of circumstance stuff, nothing terrible. We went on vacation. I didn't upload for 2 weeks. And then I got sick, and just like the slowdown meant I didn't really have a lot to show for what sold, and I'm not going to go buying stuff if nothing's selling. And so there weren't, thrifting videos and what solds when I have like 3 items to sell and I'd have to show you 4 days to get a video. And so I'd skip here and there. And then I realized today it's been almost 2 weeks since I uploaded the 3 videos that I uploaded after I was off for 2 weeks so that's unusual. Just a little piece of housekeeping. We're going to get back to some regular videos. I've got 25 to ship today on Monday morning, and it is now like 11:30. But on Mondays, my regular mail carrier takes a day off, and the other lady that covers for her does us last. So I've got a lot more time. Let's just jump right into it. There's a lot of items to talk about. In that last thrift haul video that I did post where we were all in Morris, Illinois, Judah found 2 pairs of New Balance after I found the ones that I thought was really cool. Both of his sold. Mine have not. I went ahead and shipped these. They sold for 50 bucks, free shipping. We paid 10. These, I took a best offer of 42, and they sold 42 free shipping, and we paid 10 for those. I still have another pair that I paid 10 for, and I'm at 80 on those. But the 990s are a really popular shoe, so I would have expected them to sell first, but I was wrong about that. This Calico Critter set we picked up, you guys saw me pick it up a couple weeks ago. It ended up being full of random stuff, but like what you would want a dollhouse to have. Like a little bit of actual Calico Critter furniture. It had a handful of the dolls and animals and a baby bed. And then like this has like kitchen stuff. And anyway, it had a bunch of the accessories, and it's from 2003. And the box all by itself has some solds for like $30 free shipping. I listed the whole thing for $59, so 60 bucks free shipping, and it sold within a matter of a handful of days. I paid $6 for this. Calico Critters is really pretty good stuff. It sells pretty fast. If you're not familiar with it, it's people who know what it is will mark it up. Thrift stores that know what it is, it'll be expensive. But if you find it at grandma's garage sale or at a thrift store where they don't even bother to check on it, it's and you find it cheap, it sells fast. Paid $2.50 for these like Wicked Witch of the West shoes. The soles are in bad shape, and the leather's like crinkled and stuff. And there's really no markings to tell me how old they are, because they're like cotton lined and not raw leather in there. I think they're maybe like 70s costume to look older, that like they're from turn of the century. I don't think they're actually that old. At any rate, I ran a couple of comps on them, and I paid, knowing that I'm in them, for $2.50. I listed them for $23 free shipping, and that's what they sold for. I'm perfectly content with that. If I could confirm that they're from the 1800s, then I would be, they would be all kinds of money, but I don't think that they are. And I'm not going to spend an hour and a half doing research on an item to find out if it's worth $25 more. I'm going to put a price on it and let it go. I know what I paid for it, and what it is worth matters. Like if it's something that might be worth $600, but the top end on those is maybe $100, and I don't think they're that. So I'm not going to spend an hour and a half trying to research and become an expert on those shoes so that I can determine whether those shoes are this or that, when I know $20 is profit and it's a reasonable price for those. It'll make them sell quick. And I have other things to list. So like the amount of time that you spend listing a single item makes a huge difference. And because you have to keep listing things in order to keep the machine moving. And if you spend an hour researching an item to see whether it's worth $40 or $100, and you didn't list 10 more items in that hour, those 10 items are worth more than you're losing on listing it for just 40 bucks. You know what I'm saying? That's an important thing for me. So like, I know that $20 seems cheap for these, but the comps were somewhere in that ballpark. These are not in great condition, and I will never need to be an expert in this shoe. I've bought them one time in my 20 years, and I made money, and I'm moving on with life. So those 3 packages were things that I printed the labels for on Wednesday, but I knew I didn't have the boxes. I was so ill by Thursday that I didn't get out of bed for most of the weekend. I had 103, 104 fever, and I was taking Dayquil and drinking water like crazy and eating good food, trying to get myself. And it has passed. I don't know what it was. I didn't go to the doctor because I figured it would pass pretty quick, and if it hadn't. But anyway, I was in bed for a couple of days, and I am going to have to send an email to those people now that those are gone. They aren't here now. I paused the video, put those things in a package and put them at the road, and my mailman will be here shortly. I'm going to email them and say, hey, sorry about that. You'll get tracking updates today. Just to make sure that they know I'm not, just flaking without communication, because I think that's important. I think a heads up goes a long way for a buyer. It would for me if somebody had printed a label 5 days ago and the tracking wasn't updated. Hey, sorry about that, I was ill, you'll get it, the tracking will be updated today, would go a long way towards me not being super frustrated, as long as it wasn't like a birthday gift. Like that calico stuff, I could see that was a birthday gift for tomorrow, and I was expecting it to be here today, and it's been 5 days and it's just now shipped. And I would go grab it and cancel the order for them if they wanted me to. But I'm going to shoot an email and say, hey, sorry about that. The rest of this is stuff that has sold since Wednesday. So what I've got is 20 items for $594.99, 600 bucks. Paid $1 for a whole bunch of hats. Most of them were bad buys, but I bought a huge box, 50 hats for 50 bucks. This was one of them. Golden Corral. It's a vintage uniform hat made in the U.S. Vintage restaurant uniforms tend to do fairly well. This one sold for $21.99 free shipping, and that's, pretty good for a hat. Probably took almost 6 months to sell. Budweiser patches. So this would be like the front patch, and then this would be the big back patch on a uniform shirt for Budweiser. I picked these up on Whatnot. I think I paid $1 a piece for them. I'm pretty sure the dude auctioned them off separately. And I had a shirt I was going to sew these onto, and I just decided I wanted profits, not projects, you know what I'm saying? And so I listed them, and I didn't make money on them. $12.40 free shipping, $2 invested. I mean, I'll probably make something, but not much. I got a big, huge box of these robotics. I think it says Milton Bradley. But it's like competing with Legos, and these are motor, like, controllers, and the battery pack and the dude and like wires to connect to the motors, but there aren't any motors here. But the box was so enormous, it would have been completely impractical to make any attempt to ship. Like, it would have had to been worth $150 to make it worth paying shipping for. So I threw those out. My wife is laughing hysterically at me. This is a really fun piece. This is a vintage, I don't remember now. I looked it up. It was from 80-something, 83. Hello Kitty, and it's like a lawnmower, and it makes noise. And then something to know about all Hello Kitty items is, I'm not going to make it focus, but they all say 1979 because that's the original patent date for Hello Kitty stuff. So this is 1983, vintage Hello Kitty stuff does well. I paid $4 for this at a yard sale, listed it, or not a yard sale, Goodwill, and listed it for $90 free shipping, and it sat for a year, and I ended up taking a $60.72 as an offer. And it sold. So I'm like $4 into it, and the handle comes off. So like, it's not going to be totally crazy to ship. And that's a pretty, like, I'm not a big fan of selling things that take a year to sell, but that's really good profit, and that's gonna take a certain buyer. This shirt's been around way too long. I think I bought it and it wasn't vintage when I bought it, and now it is vintage. American Idiot on the Bay Island tag, which doesn't normally do super well for me, but this is a 2004 Green Day, sold for $11 plus shipping. A little Patagucci fanny pack. I found this at Goodwill for $5. I was super excited to find it because it has a big enough strap for a big enough boy. I wore this to Disney World for a couple of days, and that was the reason that I bought it. But I didn't really like the way, like, getting into it. It didn't function the way that it wasn't as functional as I hoped it would be. So I listed it for $47 and change, and it sold in a day. Blaze and the Monster Machines can do really, really well. And this one where Darrington is a squirrel, and then there's one where Starla is an elephant. Blaze and the Monster Machines do well still if you buy them cheap. I paid $5 for about 15 figures in a bag at a yard sale. Gave a bunch away. Sold these two for $27. These two sold for $27. I sold another single one for $11. And then I still have one or two small lots listed. This little redhead shirt with the bass on it, just a pretty generic, like, khaki men's fishing shirt. Sold for $19.99 free shipping, I think. $19 free shipping. It's been listed since Christmas, and I don't know where it came from. I thought it came from one place, and I couldn't find it. It didn't have an item location, so I started digging somewhere, and it wasn't there. And I don't know where it came from, but it's been listed since Christmas. Flippy number clocks almost always do well. They're really easy to get working if they're not working. There's a thing. Oh, right there. Like, it's hard to see, but when that's working, that thing is spinning, and that'll spin. That is what indicates that the numbers will be spinning. You can see, like, it's a line, and when it's spinning, it looks like it's rolling forward like a screw. And if that's not happening, you can just drop some 3-in-1 like household oil in it, and then just move it with your finger for a while and run it around, get that worked in, and it'll start back up almost undoubtedly. These things are tanks, but sometimes that oil gets dried out. So anyway, this one is Lloyd's, which is not a great brand, and it's not in super great condition. It sold for $28, but if you find like a Panasonic or some obscure thing, some of these can be worth hundreds of bucks. Elgin makes like street sweepers, and I've had a couple of their hats before, and they're pretty, like, considering this is like a Zamboni machine, like the hats are intense. Anyway, this one I paid like $1 for. Sold for $10 free shipping plus shipping. I didn't think I would have sold it for $10 free shipping. This is an auto alarm from James Electronics, and obviously it's still in like the store display packaging, but I picked it up at Goodwill for like $3 or $4, and there were no comps for this company. There were no comps for this item, obviously, but nothing like it. So I took a gamble, kind of not having any idea what I was buying, and bought it for $3. And I listed it for $20 plus shipping, and it sat for 6 months with no interest. And then somebody sent me a $10 plus shipping offer, and I'm like, you know what? It gets it sold. HE95, we have, should be a beer shirt in here. It's probably this one. Yeah. Coors Light, #1 draft pick, 1998. It's the XL. It's been around forever. Sold for $11 plus shipping. So I wouldn't say that vintage t-shirts are dying off. Like, it's not like you aren't making money if you're buying vintage t-shirts. And like the bangers are like this shirt that I'm wearing is from 2006, I think. So it's not quite vintage yet, but like this shirt would carry a lot of value. The like tour shirts from the 60s, 70s, 80s are still doing really well. Not the 60s. I don't know if any tour shirts from the 60s, but late 70s, 80s, 90s, cartoons and that kind of stuff. But like this kind of, was a low-end shirt to start with. And that level of vintage t-shirts just really don't carry the demand that they did 3 or 4 years ago. You would have had speaking of vintage shirts, it's just not quite what it used to be with vintage shirts. This would have been probably a $40 shirt 2 years ago. But I took a $20 offer on it, plus shipping, because it's just been around forever. That is, if that fit me or was even close, I think it's a large or a medium. It's an XL, but it's a small XL. I probably would have kept that. That's a beautiful shirt, but it wasn't high end 4 or 5 years ago, which means that it's a mid, and mids are dying in vintage t-shirts. Okay, and in this box, you can see it already, this ring device. This is like a keypad for when you're using the security system. You type in your key code and then this extender. These are older, and you know, if you bought from Ring, you couldn't even buy these anymore. And they were part of our security system on the old house, and we brought them here, and then we did something different here, so we didn't end up, these didn't work with the current thing. So we I still had this, and it's new open box, and then we just happened to have this extender, and it's not worth selling by itself, so I just threw it in with this. It sold for $22, and that's what I often do. Like, this would sell for $6, maybe. Probably 10 plus shipping tops. This would sell for $22 free shipping. So rather than say, oh, I got to get $28 free shipping, literally, the extender is not worth selling by itself, so I added no value and just made my listing more appealing by adding that, instead of adding a price to make it more expensive. I was going to donate it, so I just donated it to the person who bought it to make them more likely to buy it. And Stanley Cup Finals hat, I paid $1 for it. Paid $1 for all of the stuff in a guy's store, $1 an item for almost everything that he had left in his eBay store when he retired. And that one was one thing. So it sold for $8.50 plus shipping. And I'll make some money, not a lot, but I recouped my money on that purchase a long time ago. This surprises me a little bit. CC Filson. I paid $10, $8 for these 2 of these CC Filsons. And you can see the one's still in there, and this one is just sold today. I was super excited when I found those, and I thought they would do crazy well. And I mean, I think I paid $8.99, which is a great price. And it sold for $32 free shipping, but it took longer than I thought, and I did actually lower the price. My brother actually found this on the rack at a thrift store, and he and I did some horse trading on some stuff. It was in there, it just clear at the bottom, so I didn't want you guys to watch me struggle finding it. This is an old Universal 1997 maybe, made in the US, single stitch, all over print with these dinosaurs in that tie-dye pattern. Jurassic Park. I don't think it has a thing on the back, but just a really neat shirt. I had some stuff that he wanted, and he had some merchandise he knew I could sell easier than him. And so we did some trading, and I gave him some money. And that shirt, I don't know what my cost of goods is in it. I wasn't counting cost that day when I'm dealing with my twin brother. But that sold for $55 free shipping. Okay, I believe this one has a sweatshirt that one of the kids picked up at a thrift store. Yeah, right here. My Chemical Romance. So we would have paid like $6 or $8 for it. Sold for $26 plus shipping. And My Chemical Romance, like the t-shirts will sell okay, but hoodies of bands always do way better because they're really expensive to buy, even at the store, let alone at a concert. My neighbor was having a yard sale, and I just wanted to grab something to be, you know, I was over there talking to him for a minute, and he had two things that were signs. This one, which is fantastic, new, and it's obviously like Rat Rod, but it's Hobby Lobby, so it's not old, but it's still not one that you see much, and it's very cool. Earl's predates the name Holly, like Holly carburetors, performance plumbing for your Rat Rod. So this is like a retro sign, but it's a nice metal sign, and it's not currently in print. So, and then he had one other that was a license plate. There it is. This is what sold for $7. So I paid $4 for both of these. This one knowing that it wasn't worth too awful much, and that one will sell. This just sold just now. It's a women's XL crop top sweatshirt. Like, it's super short for being a women's XL, and so it's way wider. It's a crop top. You guys know what a crop top is. It sold for $10.55 plus shipping. Not worth a whole lot, but a cool piece. If you're a Disney adult, like I'm a Disney adult, you know that when you see Disney clothes, you're like, holy crap, that would have been so expensive in the park. That's a really good deal, because prices of clothing is a totally different animal in Disney. And the last thing is a pair of sunglasses in okay, mystery solved. This case says Maui Jim, and I bought this case for $1 at a yard sale and added it to the glasses that I found at Goodwill for $2. MJ Sports by Maui Jim do well. I bought a pair last week for $15 and they sold already for $55. And these are a little more beat up, but I added the case to them and they sold for $55. So maybe Maui Jim aren't prevalent everywhere because I live in Peoria and Maui Jim is from Hawaii and they're made in Italy, but somehow their world headquarters is in Peoria. Like, it's one of the closest businesses to my neighborhood. It's crazy. It's really, really close here. When at the other house, I used to say, I live 10 blocks from the world headquarters of Caterpillar. Well, now I live, and Maui Jim's not nearly the company that Caterpillar is, but I live a walking distance from Maui Jim. And the glasses are, so I see the Maui Jim glasses quite a bit, but they're worth quite a bit. I have one pair that isn't listed yet, but every time I get them, they sell super fast. And I guess I say all that to say, I'm not sure if that's something that is unique to my experience because of where I am, or if you're going to find Maui Jim glasses a lot everywhere. But I see them a lot. I mean, not a lot. Like, you know, I'll probably find 5 or 6 pairs a year, which is, you know, every other month. That's quite a bit. And for something that you normally pick up for $2, $3, $5, I paid $15 for the last pair, and make a good chunk of money on. So it's something that I look out for. Like, I kind of feel like that's a bolo. Like, Maui Jim is not Ray-Ban. It's not Rolex, the, you know, names that people know to look for, but it is something that has value. And so I would call Maui Jim a bolo. Be on the lookout for this, because it's not known to everybody, and it has value, and you're likely to find it. But people put like, you know, diamond rings are a bolo. You're not going to find that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to find vintage Rolexes at a thrift store. So in my opinion, that's not a bolo. That's like a, I don't know, a unicorn. In my opinion, a bolo is something that you're likely to find and might be passing over because you aren't on the lookout for it. But now that I'm telling you to bolo, maybe you'll see it next time you look. So Maui Jim is a bolo, in my opinion. Be on the lookout for Maui Jims because you might actually find them, and they actually carry value that is more than most people assume. I think that's everything. Yeah, just look back over a bunch of the stuff that has sold recently that I wouldn't have made because I sold 2 things today, and I was like, I'm not making a video over 2 things. So I just looked back over the bunch of stuff that got skipped, and there's nothing super interesting. If you look back in my, if you go to my eBay store, you can sort by solds, and you can look at what sold if you want to, but that would be weird. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Thanks for liking, commenting, and subscribing. I've noticed recently that the sourcing, like going out and getting stuff at thrift stores and yard sales videos, do tremendously so much better than the what sold videos. And so I'm gonna start doing like series in the sourcing and doing some what sold videos, and I hear people say it the other way all the time, and I guess it's probably because of the way that I do the sourcing videos. But it takes so much longer, so much more work involved in editing a what sold video, and I think it's because I do every item and I talk a lot and I record a lot. And when I'm sourcing, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, I need to turn the camera on. Oh, that's interesting, I need to turn the camera on. Where a lot of people just put a GoPro on, record the entire day, and then have to edit 9 hours down to 30 minutes. So that would be very difficult and probably not worth doing. But I don't hardly have to edit. I just film what I know I need. And so the sourcing videos are much easier, and it seems like you guys enjoy them more. So I'm going to try to do more of those and maybe I'll do what solds. A lot of people do just the highlights, like Justin Resells is one of my very favorite channels anymore, and these are my top 10 sales of the week, which makes sense. I mean, you guys don't need to know about every $11 shirt that I sell, but I feel like also like the diehard audience, the people who comment on every video and are here all the time, you like the what solds better. So tell me what you think in the comments. Get at me in the comments. Tell me what's up. Tell me that you're disappointed that I'm not putting out as many videos. I'm going to try to get back to it, but right now life is just pulling me in 100 directions, and something's got to give, and unfortunately it's been YouTube so far. Thanks for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, following, clicking the bell, all the things that you do, and sooner instead of later, we'll see you on the next one.